Good afternoon, students. Today we are going to revise our Mauryan Empire and then we will finish this lesson. So let us do the revision from the beginning, as I have completed the half part of this lesson, but we will do today from the beginning revision work. Okay, so keep your pencils in hand. Now, who were the Mauryas? The establishment of the Mauryan Empire marks the beginning of a new era, that means a new time in the Indian history. And for the first time, a large part of the country was politically unified under the Mauryas, the Mauryan group. They were the people who were politically unifying the large part of the country under the Maurya, the Mauryan group. There are certain sources to study about the Mauryan Empire. Now, who were the Mauryas, from where they came? So, Arthashastra gave the information. Arthashastra was written by Chanakya. The other name of Chanakya, Kautilya. This book deals with the art of administration and politics. Administrative part of the empire and the political part of the empire, all these are studied under this book. Indica was written by Megasthenes, the Greek ambassador to the court of Chandragupta Maurya. Now, this book provides valuable information on the Mauryan administration and on the economic and social conditions of that period. Archaeological sources, the rock and the pillar edicts of Ashoka also provide valuable information about the Mauryan Empire. The silver coins of the Mauryas tell us a lot about the economic conditions under Mauryas. Now, who was Chandragupta Maurya? In 321 BC, Chandragupta Maurya overthrew the last Nanda king, underline it, Dhanananda, and seized the throne of Magad. His success was largely due to the guidance and training of his advisor. Who was his advisor? Chanakya was his advisor. Chandragupta Maurya was an official in the army of the Nandas. He wanted to overthrow the extremely unpopular Dhanananda. For this, he escaped to Punjab and where he met Chanakya. Chanakya was who? Who had a personal grudge against Dhanananda, who trained Chandragupta in the art of warfare. He gave all the training. Chanakya gave all the training to Chandragupta, art of warfare, technique of warfare, and helped in administrative procedures also, as he was expert in administrative matters. So he helped Chandragupta to organize an army and seize the throne of Magad by overthrowing Dhanananda. Chanakya's guidance was as valuable and important as Chandragupta's bravery and military strength in laying the foundations of the Mauryan Empire. A few years after Alexander's death, fighting broke out between his generals for the control of his vast empire. Seleucus, who was one of the Alexander's generals, underline it, became the ruler of the territory stretching from Asia Minor to Indus. Till Indus, you underline. In 305 BC, he crossed the Indus to recover the territories that Alexander had conquered earlier. Chandragupta Maurya defeated him and freed northwestern India from Greek control. Seleucus was compelled to sign a treaty according to which he had to give eastern Afghanistan, Balochistan, and areas west of Indus to Chandragupta. He thus gave his daughter to Chandragupta in marriage and sent Megasthenes as ambassador to Chandragupta's court. In return, what did Seleucus give? Seleucus received 500 war elephants as gift. Chandragupta Maurya built a vast empire which was the first great empire in Indian history. By the end of his reign, the Mauryan Empire stretched from Hindu Kush in the northwest to Bengal in the east and from Himalayas in the north to Narmada in the south. Bindusara came now. Chandragupta Maurya was, underline it, succeeded by his son Bindusara, who ruled for 25 years. Thus, during his reign, the empire extended up to Mysore. Underline this part. Ashoka. When Ashoka ascended the throne in 273 BC, underline it. Kalinga was the only kingdom that was not under Mauryan control. So Ashoka concentrated in capturing Kalinga. Thus, in 261 BC, Ashoka attacked Kalinga and conquered it after a bitter struggle. Underline it. His empire now stretched from the Himalayas in the north to Mysore in the south, from Hindu Kush in the northwest to Brahmaputra in the east. It included the Kabul, Kandahar, Herat, and parts of Nepal and Kashmir. Ashoka's victory in Kalinga did not bring him any joy and satisfaction. The death, destruction, and great human suffering in this war filled his heart with sorrow and remorse. The Kalinga War became a turning point in Ashoka's life. He made up his mind to give up warfare and conquered the hearts of the people with love. This was the Kalinga War was the main turning point in Ashoka's life. Though he won the war, but the scene which he saw after the war, the dead people lying on the war field, the people howling and crying, so these all sight deeply hurt him. So he thought of adopting the religion of Buddhism and to help the common people. Ashoka was deeply influenced by the Buddhist principles of compassionate, soft behavior towards others, peace and non-violence, no ahimsa, non-violence, not to harm anyone. He embraced Buddhism and devoted his life to the moral and material welfare of his subjects. Welfare was his main target for his common people who was living in his kingdom. The policy of Digvijaya, that is conquest of territories, was now replaced by Dhamma Vijaya, that is conquest through Dharma. Ashoka's Dhamma, the word Dhamma is derived from the Sanskrit word Dharma, which means religious duty. Ashoka's idea of Dhamma was based on human values and a code of conduct inspired by the noble teachings of Buddha. He dedicated his life to the spreading of the messages of Dhamma in India and abroad. The main principles of Dhamma were as follows. People should live in peace and harmony, love and affection with each other. Everyone should follow ahimsa, that is non-violence and non-injury to all living creatures. People should love one another and show tolerance and respect towards other religions. Children should obey their elders, and elders should treat children with understanding. People should be truthful, charitable, and kind to all, including servants and slaves. Propagation of Dhamma. Ashoka set a personal example by strictly following the principles of Dhamma and inspiring others to do the same. He visited all the places associated with his life, and thus his main target was to propagate, spread Dhamma, and to make it known to the people the value of it. So he ordered the construction of Buddhist monasteries. He sent learned Buddhist scholars to distant lands to spread Buddhism from one place to another. His son Mahendra and daughter Sanghamitra were sent to Sri Lanka to spread the message of Buddhism. Special officers called Dhamma Mahamattas were appointed to spread and enforce the principles of Dhamma throughout the kingdom. Now, next, as we are revising the lesson, now we are coming to the topics which were left out. So, there were special officers called Dhamma Mahamattas, underline it, were appointed to spread and enforce the principles of Dhamma throughout the kingdom. Underline, this is important. Who were Dhamma Mahamattas? The principles of Dhamma were engraved in Prakrit on rock pillars and caves so that people could read and follow. I mean, common people, the empire, the common subjects should come and easily read it. It was actually a type of rules of Dhamma shown to the people to follow it so that they can gain interest and understanding about this particular Dhamma. He organized the Third Buddhist Council also at Pataliputra to discuss ways of propagating Buddhism. Ashokan edicts. What are edicts? Edicts are a source of valuable information of the Mauryan period. Underline it. They are royal commands or proclamations and were inscribed on rocks, polished stone pillars, and caves. Edicts were composed in Prakrit language, the language of the people, and written in the Brahmi script. In the northwest, they were written in Greek, Kharoshthi, and Aramaic. But these were the different forms they were written. There are certain pictures also given in your book. Ashokan pillar edict picture is given. Ashokan rock edicts in Junagadh, how in that was inscribed the writings on the rock pillars were composed in Prakrit and written using the Brahmi script also for the common people to understand easily. Ideals of kingship. Ashoka was one of the greatest kings in the history of India. He believed that the role of the king was that of a father to his children. So he worked for the prosperity, that is good for his empire, happiness and welfare, that means helping the common people. He appointed officials called Mahamattas to carry out administrative works. Mahamattas carry out the administrative works. Underline it. He built good roads, planted shady trees on both sides of the roads. Wells were dug, rest houses were built for the weary travelers, the tired travelers who travel for long distance. For them, these constructions were made by him. Health centers were built for the people and animals. Officials were sent on the tours to find out and solve the problems of the people. Okay, so Ashoka occupies a unique place in history of human civilization. He was the first monarch in the ancient world. And it is told that Ashoka occupied a unique place in history of human civilization. He was the first monarch in the ancient world to renounce war, to leave war after a victory also. He got victory also, it is not any defeat. And proclaimed peace. He adopted peace and non-violence. He even championed the cause of universal brotherhood and tolerance. In the words of historian H.G. Wells, amidst the tens of thousands of names of monarchs that crowd the columns of history. When in the columns of history, it means lot of names are there. Among those names, Ashoka shines almost alone like a star. Among the thousands of rulers in the ancient history, Ashoka name will always shine because he was the unique of the unique ruler who, after winning the war also, he adopted Buddhism and he became a type of charitable and welfare person towards his subjects. So read this lesson till I have taught. There are certain important words like what is Arthashastra, important words from your book. Arthashastra was the book written by Chanakya on politics. Indica was the account of the Mauryan period written by Megasthenes. Digvijaya means conquest of territories and Dhamma Vijaya means conquest through Dhamma. Conquest means conquering through Dhamma. Dhamma means through the welfare, by doing good things to the people, by that expanding the empire, conquering through that, but not by killing or not doing any type of violence. Dhamma is derived from the Sanskrit word dharma. Dharma means religious duty, the religious work we do for the common people to help them. Dhamma Mahamattas. Who are Dhamma Mahamattas? Were the special officials appointed to spread and enforce the principles of Dharma. These people were appointed actually to spread the messages of Dharma to the common people, to make them know the benefits of adopting Dharma. What is the goodness behind adopting Dharma? So to the common people, hence this Dhammamatta used to spread from one place to another, move from one place to another and used to spread the message of Dhamma. Who were Mahamattas? Were officials of the empire, the Mauryan Empire, who were appointed to carry out the administrative procedures of the empire. So there are certain exercises also in your book, you know it, that fill in the blanks and match the following. These two parts I have started today. I have given it to you in the study material with answers. And in the worksheet section, I have given you Jainism, Buddhism, book exercises, question answers. Everything is given, all your fill in the blanks, true false, whatever is there, all I have given you. Today's class I have given you from Jainism, Buddhism, the long part question answers, and previous class question answers, fill in the blanks, whatever. If you have missed it, if you have not written, again I have given you the copy of that. I have sent in that only. I have put in the down. You read it and copy it in your copies. Don't miss the book exercises. Don't keep it only in your computers. Okay, you keep the habit of writing and maintaining copy. Okay, so you all keep on writing the question answers, fill in the blanks, true false, whatever I am giving. Book exercises only. I am telling book exercises only. Copy it in your copy and maintain the copy neatly, nicely with good handwriting. Okay, students. Thank you. We will meet again in the next class, and I will give you in the next class your question answers, short questions, and little bit more 2 or word sentences questions, short questions all I will give you in your next class in your worksheet section. Okay, then you can do of your Mauryan Empire lesson. Today I have started from your book exercises A and B. In your study material I have given. In the next class I will give you the other questions. Okay, students. Thank you.